This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV. We're inside Broadmarsh Shopping Centre in Nottingham for the Froch Media Workout ahead of Froch and Groves this Saturday, live on pay-per-view. With me I have promoter Eddie Hearn. How are you, Eddie?
Very well, Kugan. How are you?
Very well. What's the matter?
Nothing, mate.
You're all like pissed off.
No, I'm very happy. Your
boyfriend's up there. What's the matter? What's wrong?
It's been a hectic weekend, but you know, saving fights, making fights, Haye news. You know,
it's all gone off, basically.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's just talk about the undercard first of all. Stephen Smith, Jamie McDonald will fight on the bill, and also Anthony Crolla will face Stephen Foster Jr. Instead of Martin Geffen, who's injured. Correct? Yes.
That's correct. Yeah. Stephen Smith's in a brilliant fight, which we'll announce later, probably today. Really pleased for that fight. Jamie McDonald being an 8-rounder. We had an email on Friday from Frank Warren's. Queensbury or whatever, and saying Martin Geffen has pulled out, and here's the doctor's note. He's got a perforated eardrum. Unfortunately, the doctor's note was about 9 days old, so very disappointing to get the news 9 days after he'd seen the doctor. It's very difficult to make a fight, but we were able. Luckily, Stephen Foster was in training, and he was due to fight CASSIUS on December the 11th. And things just worked out beautifully, really, because it's a local derby. Foster's done a lot of super featherweight. He's now operating at lightweight, and to get a big domestic fight like that a week out, I was really pleased.
And Stephen Smith also has got his licence back now, so he's able and free to fight on November the 23rd this Saturday.
Correct. Yeah. Obviously, we had confirmation that Stephen Smith was allowed to fight on the bill. Delighted, the right thing was done. And like I said, he'll be in a cracking fight on the 23rd. Really, really looking forward to that. It's a big opportunity for him to strive towards that world title, which we hope will come next year.
And Jamie McDonald, can you tell us anything about his opponent?
No, we're looking at a few now. We'll decide in the next hour or so. He's going to be in an 8 3-minute rounds, then he'll box again on December the 14th in probably a 12-rounder there. So just pleased to get him out. He's been out for over 6 months, so he's desperate to get out, and he'll box on the 23rd and then again on the 14th. And we're already making big plans for 2014. Looks like we're going to Cardiff on February the 1st. February the 8th now is now up in the air with the Haye Fury fight being off. So we've held the hydro there for Ricky Burns' fight. I want to go to Hull at the end of February. I want to go to Manchester in March with Crolla and Quigg. And I want to go to Liverpool in March as well with Stephen Smith, Rocky Fielding, hopefully maybe even a Tony Bellew world title defence, Tom Stalker, Callum Smith of course. So it's a busy start to next year, but at the moment all eyes on Saturday to make sure that everything runs smoothly.
Okay. I just want to touch on what obviously the news we were talking about yesterday that came out that Haye Fury is now off for the second time and looks to stay off now. David undergone surgery in Germany on his shoulder, and it via press release saying that the doctors have advised him to possibly consider retiring. So there's two bits of news there, that possibly no more David Haye in boxing, and also obviously the big Haye Fury off.
Yeah, I mean, I had a feeling that, I don't know, when a big fight falls through the first time around, sometimes just something tells you that it's not meant to be or it's not going to happen. And always worried with a February the 8th fight. Both fighters got to train over Christmas. You talk about a change in the climate. I don't know, I'm worried for the fight. And, people who think that it's a conspiracy theory or it's ridiculous. The fact is that Haye got cut for the first time. They were 1 week out. And then obviously now he's done his shoulder and it looks like his career's over. So, maybe it's just wear and tear over the years and Father Time telling David Haye that's it. It's disappointing because it's a fight I really look forward to, and I really feel for Tyson Fury as well. I know what he would have put in that first camp, and I know what the fight meant to him, but I think I saw a couple of his interviews, and I think he had a feeling as well that it wouldn't happen.
The whole Fury camp seemed to have had that feeling that this fight weren't going to happen.
Yeah, and obviously now it's not. So it's a big shame for Tyson because he's geared up the last 6-7 months of his life for a huge fight and a massive payday. I mean, you're probably talking about, I'm not privy to what he's earned, probably 20 times his biggest purse to date. It's a huge opportunity for him, and it's not going to happen. And now it's a really difficult job for Tyson Fury and his promoters and his team because where do you go? You know, and people talk about the Wilder fight, people talk about the Steve Hearn fight, people talk, you know, they're all great fights, but the money's not there to put your record on the line in a fight like that. You know, the reason the David Haye fight happened because there was a huge amount of money involved. So, you know, it's a risk-reward scenario. But against Wilder, I don't know where the revenue's going to come from. It's not a big enough fight for the masses. And I know that a lot of people that watch this interview may say, no, it is a big enough fight. But, you know, the reason Fury-Haye was so big is because the profiles of both fighters. And don't forget that was a 50-50 split. Fury done so well to drive himself into a 50-50 split on that fight, with Haye, the much bigger name. But I just don't see how Fury against a Wilder is going to tick the boxes financially. And what's it going to be? You know, what's the reward? Small money and no shot? I mean, you know, I think if I was Fury, he needs a huge fight in the UK. The plus points for Tyson Fury now is his profile has risen incredibly through the fact he hasn't even had a fight. The build-up for the Haye Fury 1 fight, you know, all the stuff that Sky have been doing around the box office. Hopefully they get to show the behind the ropes now. They've filmed all this footage that's never been seen. But, you know, Tyson Fury is a huge name, and he deserves to be in the big fights, and I think he will. But it's a really difficult period for him now to manage his expectations of what was going to be and now the reality of what is. If that makes sense?
Yeah, it does. So, obviously, February the 8th, there's a date there, isn't there? And does it have anything to do with specifically it being pay-per-view or...?
Well, there's no fight out there for Fury that's pay-per-view. I mean, you know, it's not my decision what's pay-per-view and what's not, but in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure that's the opinion of the people that matter, there is no Tyson Fury fight that is pay-per-view. You know, so again, the only way you can achieve the financial expectations of the Haye Fury money is with a pay-per-view fight. And without pay-per-view, the rights fees, you know, they're not even close to satisfying the demands of Fury and Wilder for that kind of fight. So I don't know is the answer. For us, the only date that was available at the Hydro, which is the arena we want to go to with Burns, was February the 8th. So we booked that this morning. That was one plus point, but I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed, you know, for Tyson Fury. I'm disappointed for the fans. I'm disappointed for boxing that fight never happened, because it would have been a great fight and a great occasion. And that I almost feel as though we need to be thankful for nights like this when they do happen, because they don't come around very often.
Careful, it ain't happened yet.
Well, I know. I told you, I got a text from McCracken last night about 11 o'clock saying, please call me. I nearly needed a spare pair of pants. I mean, it was like that, but that's what you're dealing with. But it's not just, you're not just dealing with George Groves and Carl Froch. You're dealing with Quigg in a world title fight. You're dealing with Crawler now in a big domestic fight. You know, you're dealing with Rocky Fielding defending his Commonwealth title. You're dealing with Luke Campbell back out again. You're dealing with Stephen Smith, Jamie McDonnell, Martin Murray, all on the bill. So it's the disappointments. Everybody, you know, this whole show is built upon Froch and Groves, and any withdrawals at this stage, and it's game over. The whole thing's up in smoke. So as a promoter, you know, it's nail-biting times, these last spars and these last couple of days of preparation. But you know, it looks like we've got a fight. So roll on Saturday.
I was going to ask you actually, because we haven't spoke about Ricky Burns much. So what's the situation with Ricky Burns then? Is it looking like Beltran, Crawford?
The WBO would like us to fight Terence Crawford. He's the mandatory. I feel as though we should be allowed to have a voluntary in the meantime, and that voluntary we want is Raymond Beltran. I feel as though commercially that's the right fight. I feel that
back in Scotland,
morally and ethically that's the right fight. Back in Scotland, because it's the only territory that could provide the money needed for that fight. But at the same time, Top Rank have got Beltran and Crawford. Beltran's agreed to the deal, but Top Rank are pushing for Crawford, and they've got a lot to sort out themselves. The right thing to do is to give Beltran the fight, then we'll fight Crawford. Will it play out like that? I don't know. But if that doesn't happen, we'll push for a unification fight before Crawford, because the Crawford fight commercially isn't the size of a Beltran fight or isn't the size of a unification fight. So as I said to Ricky the other day, you know, you're either going to be fighting Beltran, Vasquez or Abril or Crawford, and he just replied, great, all sound great. You know, he'll fight anyone. So
how's his jaw?
His jaw's great. He's back training. He's motivated. He wants the Beltran fight because he had to fight 10 rounds with a broken jaw, and he feels they can do a lot better. The Crawford fight is a great fight. So is the Vasquez fight. So is Abril. They're all great fights. you know. But I just think the right thing for boxing is that Beltran gets another shot. But unfortunately, the right thing doesn't always happen. And you know, I have to say that at the moment, you know, the top rank, who are the key players here in the whole jigsaw, I think are pushing for a Crawford fight. So, but then if they do that and then we get a unification, everybody loses. So, you know, it's up to Bob Arum and Carl Moretti and the top ranked team which way they want to play it. I know that Beltran's lot are putting extreme pressure on them, saying, look, we've been offered the fight, we accept the fight, please let us have it. So it's up to them. But, you know, that's their business and they'll sort it out and let me know.
Did you say you've booked for the 8th of Feb?
Yeah, well, originally we were looking at February the 1st because that was the only Saturday available. But now we've booked the February the 8th for the Hydro, which is the new arena in Glasgow. And February the 1st in Cardiff. So that's the date we're looking at. And you know, with a 75-25 split on the purse bid, I'm confident we can bring Crawford here. Unless they want to give us a potload of money, which Ricky's happy with, I don't see why we shouldn't have to fight in Glasgow. So I think all will be unravelled in the next sort of week or so. There's a lot that needs sorting at the moment. Obviously, Kel's next fight as well. You know, and the planning for the new season. So.
All right. Well, listen, I'm not going to make this a long one because I'm with you all week, literally all week, which isn't good for either of our relationships. So I think we'll keep this one quite short today. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm not listening to you. I'm just nodding my head. I was thinking about something else.
What were you thinking about?
Froch's
pants.
I was thinking about. I'm glad you laugh at your own jokes. Because no one else does.
Yeah, Froch.
No, I've got to find the opponent for Luke Campbell. Just had an email. This is,
Is it something I can help you with?
No, I don't think you'll make 9 stone 9 unless you cut.
No, not me. I just mean I've got contacts in. I can find you a Sri Lankan lightweight somewhere.
There's a lot of Sri Lankan lightweights out there in a minute.
Yeah.
You know, pushing for world honours.
Yeah. Wanker. Right. Listen. All right. Well, listen. We'll leave it there.
All right. Yeah. Good.
Just a quick word on him. We'll have a quick word on Froch tomorrow, but on Groves tomorrow rather. But looking all right in there.
Yeah. What you expect from Carl Froch. He's motivated. He's prepared. He wants to beat George Groves badly. But, you know, you look at George and you think, brimming with confidence. You know, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, there's a naivety about George Groves which can definitely work in his favour here and also can work against him in that, in his mind, he doesn't see a way that Carl Froch can beat him. You know, and he's so confident that, you know, that could work to his favour. On the flip side, that could work against him because he could be a little bit careless and reckless. You know, I just think it's fascinating. I'm nervous for the fight. I'm nervous for both fighters because so much is on the line. You know, and I know you always allude to my feelings for Carl Froch, you know, but I genuinely wish both fighters all the best. This is a massive opportunity for both of them. George Groves has got little to lose and so much to gain, and Carl Froch has got everything to lose and probably less to gain. So it's fascinating what's going to happen, stylistically what's going to happen. You know, and I'm really excited.
Do you know what? I'm just pleased this fight is actually happening.
Don't speak too soon.
Looks to be happening.
Yeah.
So,
you know, this is the nights that you live for as a promoter and a fan. You know, I look back now at fights I went to 10 or 15, 20 years ago. You know, someone tweeted me the other day saying, I just watched Eubank against Collins, and when Eubank put Collins down, I see you jump up. I was about 14 or 13, and I remember those nights. Do you know what I mean? The atmosphere, the goosebumps, and this is what you're in the sport for. We all want to make a pound note, we all want to make a few quid, but memories last forever. And when we look back at the Boutte night, when we look back at the Kessler fight, when we look back at Froch Groves, they're the nights in your profession and as a fan that you look back at and you say, I was a part of it, I was there. Were you there that night, you know, of those fights? And people talk about Ben Eubank now and, you know, Eubank against Watson. Well, they're history as well, and people were there. And these are the kind of fights that people are going to refer to in 10 years' time. So we mustn't take them for granted. That's what I'm saying, you know. And of course, there's a huge night of action on the night, and you know, I think it's a great time for British boxing. So many fighters being showcased, and I'm chuffed to make the Crawler Foster fight because I'm looking forward to that one. I like to be nervous, you know, and of course, the only way you get that nervous feeling is when your fighters are in tough fights. Some of those fights aren't 50-50s. but you're never going to get a card full of 50-50s. But there are 50-50s on the card, and you know that one in particular, Crawler against Foster. That I'm nervous for that fight. You got a kid in Foster, very strong game kid, local kid, pride on the line, with everything to gain, and you got Crawler really, he's got to gain and look sensational. But I want to feel nervous, you know. I don't want to walk to the ring thinking this is another easy night, because then it's boring. It's not just boring for me; it's boring for everyone. So, you know, and Froch Groves as well. It's good times, mate. Good times.
It is good times. I'm a bit disappointed with what you said to me back there. I was sort of saying to you like,
that geezer?
No, I'll forget that. I know you obviously don't.
Cheers, mate.
A fan, listen, come and gave me these to give to Eddie Hearn. So rating out of 10 for the fan that gave you that?
Oh, he's a top man, but ratings out of 10 for those, they're an 11.5, the pickled
I
onion.
mean, you rate the fan for the effort.
I've got it, haven't I? Yeah.
So is that for you?
Yeah.
I don't really eat pickled onion. No, you went to me, I said, so what's the plans this week? Obviously about Manchester, blah, blah, blah. And you said, well, I'll be honest with you, KUGAN. I took you seriously for a little while. I said, we don't really need you this week because it's like the fight's kind of sold itself, so you're not really needed.
I wasn't joking. No, I'm serious. I mean, look, when we're at shows with very little coverage, your coverage is very important to us and priceless. On a fight like this, it don't really mean a row of beans. So I don't want to be shelling out on petrol, taxis, airline tickets, hotels.
Room service.
Exactly. So you're more than welcome to stay at home this week. We could do with your press seat for someone significant. So, you know.
This is how you're so convincing, because I'm looking into your eyes now and I know you don't mean it.
I don't mean it. You're always welcome. You're always...
There'd be a backlash if you didn't let me into Froch and Groves.
So?
100%.
You'd be banned by another promoter.
Well, I've never been banned by anyone.
No.
I haven't.
No.
Choices, my friend. Right, Eddie, velvet jacket today, looking very sharp. Everyone's waiting for you. Are you waiting for Eddie? All right.
Cool.
Why are you waiting for Eddie? Oh, he wants something with
Sorry,
you.
mate, I didn't realise there was an important one to do. We'll wrap this one up.
KUGAN Cassius with Eddie Hearn here for IFL TV. Thank you very much.